Chapter 21. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Orochimaru suddenly appeared on the training ground and said that Sarutobi Hiruzen liked him very much and wanted Orochimaru to accept him as his disciple. Chiyu's brain almost crashed. Sarutobi Hiruzen liked him very much. Chiyu could see it, because it had been more than once that Sarutobi Hiruzen reminded Chiyu that he could apply for the graduation exam in advance and become a formal ninja. But Chiyu pretended to be confused and got away with it. Chiyu was unwilling to graduate early and become an ordinary ninja to perform those low-level tasks. In Chiyu's opinion, it was a complete waste of time, unless Sarutobi Hiruzen could clearly indicate that he could directly participate in combat missions after graduation. If Sarutobi Hiruzen did not make it clear, Chiyu would not gamble on that probability. If Chiyu lost the bet, he would have to pick up garbage. But Chiyu did not expect that Orochimaru would come to her in person when she was about to take the graduation exam in 2 days, and it was introduced by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Chiyu suddenly realized that Orochimaru was still one of the most prestigious 3 ninjas in Konoha, Sarutobi Hiruzen's proud disciple, and one of the pillars of Konoha. Orochimaru has not yet experienced being completely beaten by the Sharingan. He is just a Konoha ninja who is eager to learn all the techniques in the world. But if it is dangerous, Orochimaru at this time is still a little dangerous. Orochimaru's thoughts tend to be negative because he lost both his parents when he was young, and he witnessed the death of his good friend Kato Dan and his apprentice Nawaki. Now he should have begun to walk into the darkness. In addition, Orochimaru will also work with the Konoha High Level to conduct research on the wood-release bloodline limit, and Chiba, who has the blood of the Senju clan, is the best experimental material. However, the research on wood release should only happen after the end of the Third Ninja World War, when the next Hokage is selected. Chiba doesn't know whether Orochimaru has started to learn the impure world reincarnation of the dead and the study of the immortality technique. In general, the risk of becoming Orochimaru's disciple is not great at present. After all, it was introduced by Sarutobi Hiruzen himself, and Orochimaru's teaching level is unquestionable, as the future Uchiha Sasuke is Orochimaru's disciple. Orochimaru not only trained Sasuke very well, but also taught Sasuke to analyze and formulate strategies in the face of the enemy's abilities, leaving a good foundation. Although Chiyu has now learned the thunder-breathing full sword form, it is limited to the thunder-breathing full sword form and the basics taught in the ninja school. Therefore, Chiyu's training is just a pure integration of the current abilities, and he has not learned anything new. As a disciple of Orochimaru will definitely teach him something new, and Chiyu also wants to learn about the analysis of the enemy's abilities and the formulation of strategies. Having made up his mind, Chiyu knelt on one knee and begged, "Please accept me as your disciple, Lord Orochimaru." Orochimaru chuckled and said, "Although I am very interested in you, and the old man also hopes that I can accept you as my disciple, it does not mean that you will definitely become my disciple. I will give you a chance. Under the awareness that if you don't kill me, you will be killed. Pass my test. As long as you pass the test, you will be my disciple, Orochimaru." Chiyu stood up and asked, "I understand, Lord Orochimaru, so the test will start now, right?" Orochimaru nodded slightly. "Yes, it will start now." The moment Orochimaru finished speaking, Chiyu immediately retreated and distanced herself from Orochimaru. She placed her right hand on the handle of the sword, condensing her chakra, and her hands and feet were already flashing with lightning. Orochimaru was very satisfied with Chiyu's behavior. He did not drag his feet. After learning about the test, he immediately prepared for battle. Thunder-breathing first form Thunderbolt Flash. Chinyu burst out in one breath, like thunder tearing through the air, approaching Orochimaru at high speed, and slashed at Orochimaru with a very fast attack at a speed that could not be seen even by the naked eye. However, after Chinyu slashed, he did not feel that he had hit a solid object with the sword. He slashed in the air, and Orochimaru was no longer in front of him. Chinyu frowned. "What a fast body-flicking technique!" Orochimaru's voice sounded from the side of Chinyu. "The speed is good, but the weakness is also quite obvious. You can't change direction in the middle of the way. You can only be in a straight line. As long as they see through your attack and change direction before your attack arrives, even if it's only one body length away, your attack will miss." After Orochimaru made a seal, he aimed his arm at Chinyu. Hidden Shadow Snake Hand. Orochimaru instantly summoned several snakes on his arms, and these snakes rushed towards Chinyu. Chinyu immediately turned around and faced Orochimaru head-on. Breathing of Thunder. Form 4. Distant Thunder. Dazzling blue lightning burst out from Chiyu's body, and he attacked Orochimaru at extremely fast speeds. After approaching Orochimaru, he swung the blade to slash at high speed. The snake summoned by Orochimaru was electrocuted by the lightning on Chiyu before it even touched Chiyu. Chiyu slashed at Orochimaru at high speed, but Orochimaru dodged Chiyu's slash with ease. Orochimaru commented, "This move sacrifices some speed, but increases the strength of the change in the nature of the lightning release chakra, and the power is not bad." While dodging Chiyu's slash, Orochimaru quickly formed seals with both hands. Wind Style, Great Breakthrough. Orochimaru blew out a strong wind from his mouth. Although Wind Style, Great Breakthrough is a sea-level ninjutsu, the size of the scale varies according to the ability of the caster. When used by an excellent ninja, the wind has the destructive power to blow down a century-old tree, and Orochimaru is naturally an excellent ninja. The strong wind blew, and Chiyu was blown away directly, at the same time, because the wind style restrains the lightning style. In the strong wind, the lightning flashing on the surface of Chiyu's body was blown away by the strong wind. Chiyu, who thought he was going to be blown far away, suddenly stopped in the air. A snake was wrapped around Chiyu's body, and the tail of the snake was wrapped around Orochimaru's arm. Chiyu was like a kite, floating in the air, just when Chiyu wanted to break free from the snake's restraints. Orochimaru pulled it hard, and Chiyu rushed towards Orochimaru uncontrollably. Orochimaru punched Chiyu in the abdomen, and Chiyu flew backwards instantly. Cough. Chiyu's eyes widened, and she felt like she was going to vomit stomach acid. Chiyu fell heavily to the ground, and rolled twice before stopping. Orochimaru was still calm and composed, and commented, "Your ability to respond on the spot is not enough. When I used the Shadow Snake Limb, before I released the Wind Style, and when I pulled you over, you had a chance to escape or fight back." Chiyu covered her abdomen and stood up from the ground. She took a deep breath, adjusted her state, and directly opened her Sharingan. Chapter 22. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chiyu was blasted away by Orochimaru, who commented that she was not good at responding to situations and missed many opportunities. In order to better observe Orochimaru's movements, Chiyu opened her Sharingan and stared at Orochimaru. Orochimaru rushed towards Chiyu with a kunai in his hand. Thunder Breathing. Type 3. Gathering Mosquitoes into Thunder. Chinyu took the initiative to attack, spinning around Orochimaru at high speed, while leaving wavy blue lightning in its own trajectory. But Chinyu soon found something wrong, because after Orochimaru's body touched the wavy blue lightning, his body gradually turned into earth color, and finally turned into a pool of mud. Chinyu was very shocked. Earth substitute. When did you seal it? You were staring at Orochimaru the whole time. Chinyu was suddenly startled and guessed when Orochimaru sealed it. When Orochimaru was commenting, his eyes were not always on Orochimaru. Suddenly, a pair of hands grabbed Chinyu's ankles. Chinyu looked down and felt creepy. Shawan was underground, and now grabbed his ankle and was about to pull him underground. Chinyu reacted immediately. Thunder Breathing. Type 2. Inari Soul. Chinyu instantly launched 5 lightning-shaped combos, creating a gap in the ground. However, he did not force Orochimaru out, but disappeared underground. Having escaped, Chinyu stood still and waited for his fate. No one knew where Orochimaru was hiding now, so instead of actively looking for him and exposing his flaws, it was better to defend and counterattack. In the battle with Orochimaru, although Orochimaru was letting him go, no, it should be said that he was letting him go, but the pressure was still so great that Chinyu was very nervous. Fighting against such a strong man, there was no need to think about winning. What Chinyu had to do now was to find his own shortcomings in the battle, learn from the combat experience, and then use it for his own benefit. Orochimaru's voice suddenly came from all directions, making Chinyu unable to judge where Orochimaru was. 10,000 Snakes Formation. A large number of snakes appeared around Chinyu, surrounding Chinyu in the center and approaching Chinyu. Chinyu tightened the sword in his hand. Thunder Breathing. Type 3. Gathering Mosquitoes into Thunder. Chinyu used Gathering Mosquitoes into Thunder again, moving at high speed. leaving wave-like lightning in his own trajectory, constantly electrocuting snakes in his trajectory. While Chenyu was moving at high speed, Chenyu also used the Sharingan to observe the surroundings, trying to find the location of Orochimaru. Finally, Chenyu found Orochimaru, who was observing him with his hands on his chest, at the end of the group of snakes. On the right. Chenyu slammed the brakes and stopped where he was. Chenyu exhaled and tried his best to mobilize the chakra in his body. The blue lightning on the katana became more dazzling, and the crackling sound became louder and louder. Thunder breathing, Type 5, Heat Realm Thunder. Chenyu Void swung his sword with all his might. From the sword, a lightning-like slash with high heat was released to bombard Orochimaru. When Orochimaru saw the lightning released by Chenyu, his eyes fixed, and he immediately used the body flickering technique to escape from the range of the Heat Realm Thunder bombardment. The Heat Realm Thunder bombarded a giant tree. The giant tree was instantly broken, and the high temperature caused the tree to burn with raging fire, and the remaining lightning also blasted a hole in the ground. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes when he saw the power of Chenyu's Heat Realm Thunder. The power of this move is greater than the combined power of Chenyu's moves just now, and the speed is also quite fast. However, the chakra consumed seems to be quite a lot. Chiyu was seen with one hand on his thigh, breathing heavily. Although Chiyu's chakra has increased a lot now, the system has determined that there are already 3/5 of Kakashi's chakra in the Sharingan state. However, the chakra consumed by performing thunder breathing Type 5 Heat Realm Thunder is still a bit too much for Chiyu. If it is released normally, it can only be released 3 or 4 times at most, and there is an effect of Heat Realm Thunder. The more chakra is output, the greater the power will be. Chiyu increased the output of chakra for the Heat Realm Thunder just now. Because Orochimaru was observing him outside the snake group, it was an opportunity for Chiyu, so Chiyu output chakra without hesitation, which made the speed and power of Heat Realm Thunder increase by a level. Although Chiyu found an opportunity, Chiyu's strength was not enough to grasp this opportunity, and Orochimaru still used the instant body technique to escape. Orochimaru walked forward, looked at Chiyu and asked, "Have you reached this point?" Chiyu couldn't tell from Orochimaru's expression, and didn't know if she was qualified or not. Chiyu took a deep breath and straightened up again. "I still have chakra, but I can only use this last move." "Really? I'll wait." Orochimaru did not make a move this time, but stood still waiting for Chiyu's attack. Chiyu sheathed the katana and slightly bent his body. Looking at Chiyu's opening move, Orochimaru said in surprise, "Is this the first type of your lightning breathing move? You should know that this move of yours has a big flaw and is useless to me." Chiyu, with lightning wrapped around his hands and legs, replied, "No, this move is different." "Oh. Then I'll wait and see." Orochimaru was very curious about what moves Chiba would use next. He had also read the thunder-breathing full sword type that Chiba contributed to Konoha. It can be said to be a very excellent ninjutsu, but among the 7 sword types, only thunder-breathing one type, Thunderbolt Flash, can have such a posture. Moreover, since Chiba contributed this set of thunder-breathing full sword type, there have also been thunder-release ninjas who have learned it, but the feeling and effect that Chiba displayed were completely different from those thunder-release ninjas who learned thunder-breathing. Let alone the power, the weakest of those thunder-release ninjas were Chunin. Just talking about speed, those thunder-release ninjas were completely incomparable to Chiba's current speed. Originally, Sarutobi Hiruzen judged that the first 5 thunder-breathing sword types could only reach the B level, but through the process of fighting with Chiba, Orochimaru found that the first 5 sword types in Chiba's hands could fully reach the A level, especially thunder-breathing 5 types. Hot Realm Thunder, the A level is a foregone conclusion. Orochimaru doesn't think that his master Sarutobi Hiruzen, who is known as the Doctor of Ninjutsu, would make a mistake. In other words, either Chiba is a genius in using lightning escape, or Chiba is quite compatible with this set of ninjutsu, or the set of ninjutsu that Chiba contributed is not good enough. Orochimaru stared at Chiba. He wanted to see clearly. The opening move is obviously the same as the Thunder Flash. But what is the move that says this move is different? Lightning breathing, Type 1, Thunderbolt Flash. Chiba burst out in one breath and approached Orochimaru at high speed. Orochimaru frowned. "Isn't this still the first form, Thunderbolt Flash?" When Orochimaru used the body flickering technique to dodge, Chiba's Sharingan locked onto Orochimaru. 6 consecutive hits. Chinyu stepped on the tree trunk with both feet, used the tree to change the direction of the charge, and slashed at Orochimaru again. Chapter 23. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chiyu used lightning breathing, Form I, Thunderbolt Flash, 6 strike to fight Orochimaru for the last time. Orochimaru dodged the first sword slash. Chiyu stepped on the tree trunk with both feet, changed the direction of the charge with the help of the terrain, and slashed at Orochimaru again. Orochimaru's eyes lit up slightly. Oh. So it makes up for the weakness of Thunderbolt Flash that will become almost powerless once the nature and trajectory of the skill are seen through. It's really a genius. Orochimaru did not think that this move was Chiyu's trick, because it still belongs to the category of Thunderbolt Flash. Don't look at this move as if it only uses the terrain to change the direction of the charge, but Orochimaru can see how difficult it is. Chiyu pursues the ultimate speed. The faster the speed, the greater the power. Chiyu changes the direction of the charge through the terrain, and the power brought by the speed will act on his body, just like Chiyu changed the direction by stepping on the tree trunk just now. The power brought by the speed acted on Chiyu's legs. Just looking at the footprint on the tree trunk that was strong enough to penetrate the tree trunk, you can see how powerful the force was. If one handles it poorly, the injury to the legs may be minor, and the backlash of the lightning attribute chakra may cause unpredictable damage. The way Chinyu handled it just now is enough to prove that Chinyu's chakra control has reached a meticulous level and the foundation is very solid. Let me see where your limit is. Orochimaru made hand seals with both hands. Wind style, wind cutting technique. Orochimaru released a strong wind that could cut through the enemy's flesh and bones in an instant, and cut towards Chiba. Chiba stepped on a raised rock, changed direction, and avoided the strong wind that cut towards him. Then he used a tree next to him to change direction again and continued to rush towards Orochimaru. Earth escape, earth flow wall. An earth wall was erected on Chiyu's route. Chiyu cut through the earth wall with one sword, but after cutting through the earth wall, Orochimaru had already used the body flickering technique to change his position. The Sharingan saw where Orochimaru was, and Chiyu changed direction again and continued to charge at Orochimaru. Orochimaru looked at Chiyu who was rushing towards him with flashing lightning and said, "Although you have made up for the shortcoming, that Thunderbolt Flash will become almost powerless once the nature and trajectory of the skill are seen through. You are still in a straight line when you are making a surprise attack. Your speed is indeed very fast, but your speed is not to the extent that I can't react, so it is very easy for me to predict your trajectory. If that's all, no matter how many times you try, there will be no result." While speaking, Orochimaru dodged Chiyu's Thunderbolt Flash and slashed with his sword. Orochimaru continued, "You said 6 consecutive attacks just now, right? According to the literal meaning, you can only use the surrounding terrain to change the direction of the charge 6 times. Now you have changed the direction of the charge 5 times. In other words, if I understand correctly, you only have one last chance left." Orochimaru was right, and his analysis was also right. Chiyu's legs were aching now. The 6 consecutive attacks were Chiyu's limit, but if Orochimaru thought that this was the end, he was looking down on him. Orochimaru could react to his Thunderbolt Flash, and it would be useless even if Chiyu used the 6th, 8th, or 18th consecutive attacks. Chiyu was not stupid. How could he be so stupid and stubborn as to charge forward like this, allowing Orochimaru to play with him like a monkey? This 6th consecutive attack was Chiyu's killer move. Chiyu finally stepped on a tree and changed the direction of the charge. Chiyu gritted his teeth, endured the pain in his legs, and rushed towards Orochimaru again. Orochimaru frowned slightly, because Orochimaru saw Chiyu shaking his left hand when he stepped on the tree. Chiyu had never made such an unnecessary movement before. Then, Orochimaru immediately understood why Chiyu made that shaking motion. The moment Chiyu stepped out of the tree, there was a rustling sound around Orochimaru. Suddenly, Orochimaru was instantly bound in place. Orochimaru looked around, and under the illumination of the lightning on Chiyu, these things that bound him were reflected in Orochimaru's eyes, steel wire. Orochimaru immediately analyzed Chiyu's tactic. Chinyu knew that the lightning-breathing Type 1 Thunderbolt Flash 6-strike combo would not pose any threat to him, because he could react and use the body flash technique to dodge in advance, so how could he make his attack hit? Of course, He had to be fixed in place so that he could not dodge. When Chinyu used the Thunderbolt Flash 6-strike combo, every time he stepped on a tree, he would wrap the steel wire around the tree he stepped on. The steel wire is conductive and will not be burned by the high temperature of lightning. Moreover, it is now night, and the steel wire is extremely concealed on the ground and difficult to be found, and just now, Chinyu took the action of shaking the hands is to wrap the prepared steel wires around the hands, and then drive these steel wires at the speed of thunder and lightning to achieve the purpose of binding him instantly. Now Orochimaru admires Chiyu more and more. Chiyu's combat IQ and execution ability are also excellent to be able to come up with this tactic in a short time. And successfully implement it. Then a flash of lightning flashed, and Orochimaru was beheaded by Chiyu. Orochimaru's head fell to the ground. Chiyu couldn't bear the burden of his legs and fell directly to the ground. Chiyu didn't even dare to think about being able to kill Orochimaru. Who doesn't know that the Snake Maru is a veteran in the ninja world, and he knows all kinds of life-saving methods? The decapitated corpse of Orochimaru began to squirm, and then from this body, Orochimaru, covered in mucus, crawled out. Orochimaru's signature ninjutsu, the Orochimaru-style substitute technique. No hand seals are needed, just use the external body as a substitute and transfer the main body. Orochimaru paced in front of Chiyu, looked down at Chiyu and said, "Your strength surprises me. I take back what I said before that your ability to respond on the spot is insufficient. You can come up with a solution so quickly and put it into action. Your decision-making and action abilities are quite excellent." Chiyu endured the pain in her legs, stood up with trembling legs, and looked at Orochimaru with hope. "Lord Orochimaru, then I." Orochimaru put his hand on Chiyu's shoulder and said, "I will come to see you after the graduation exam in 4 days. You can call me teacher now." Chiyu even ignored the pain in his legs and stood straight. "Yes. Teacher Orochimaru." Orochimaru let go of Chiyu's shoulder, passed by Chiyu and left the training ground. Through the battle with Orochimaru just now, Chiyu is sure that he can become stronger by following Orochimaru. Chiyu thanked Sarutobi Hiruzen from the bottom of his heart for the assist, which made it worthwhile for him to be a grandson in Konoha for so many years. Chapter 24. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xianyu, who has now become a disciple of Orochimaru, limped home in the moonlight. Although his legs were painful, Xianyu's expression could not hide his excitement. Xianyu, who had no background, could only show off the full sword form of thunder breathing. But thunder breathing could not make Xianyu a one-trick pony, so Xianyu needed other means to strengthen. If there was no Orochimaru, Xianyu wanted to strengthen, then he could only obtain the required ability by obtaining witness points. But when he saw the witness points required in the system's exchange store, Xianyu's eyes went black. With only 40 witness points, he couldn't afford what he wanted. And if he wanted to get a large number of witness points, there was only the third ninja world war. By then it would be too late, because the ability to exchange, according to Xianyu's mastery of thunder breathing, was not directly allowed to be fully mastered. The system was only responsible for letting him learn, and then let Xianyu practice and improve himself, but this also has an advantage. Xianyu has his own understanding of thunder breathing and will not copy it mechanically. At the same time, it is also plastic, just like thunder breathing. One form Thunderbolt Flash 6 connections. Although Chiyu imitated the user Agatsuma Zenitsu, Chiyu figured out how to change the direction of the charge to minimize the burden on the legs. Chiyu took a deep breath and encouraged herself in her heart that she must be like a sponge and try her best to absorb the knowledge taught by Orochimaru. With Orochimaru's teachings, Chiyu is confident that she can stand on her own when the war comes. 4 days later at the ninja school, Uzumaki Kushina was sitting in her seat, complaining to Chiba. "Chiyu, you don't know how difficult the sealing technique is. You need to remember so many knowledge points. Chiyu, do you know the basics of sealing techniques? It's as thick as my palm, and Grandma Mito actually wants me to memorize it all." Uzumaki Kushina's little face was bitter, and she complained to Chiyu. Chiyu smiled and rubbed Uzumaki Kushina's head. "It's a little harder now, and it will be easier in the future. Kushina will definitely become the most powerful female ninja in the future." Hearing Chiyu's comfort, Uzumaki Kushina, who should have smiled at ordinary times, still pouted. "Actually, it doesn't matter if it's a little harder. but Grandma Mito said that after graduation, I can stay with her to learn the sealing technique. Only after I learn it, will I be allowed to perform missions. I obviously want to team up with you, Chiyu, and perform missions together. I have been looking forward to it for a long time. Uzumaki Kushina shrugged her head, looking unhappy. Chiba laughed and said, Kushina, actually I have something to tell you. After I graduate, I probably won't team up with anyone to carry out missions, because I was accepted as a disciple by Orochimaru 4 days ago. I will practice with Orochimaru from now on. Uzumaki Kushina tilted her cute little head and asked in confusion, Teacher Orochimaru? I haven't heard of him. Orochimaru has been living in seclusion for a long time now, and basically no one has seen Orochimaru, and now, apart from the ninja school, Uzumaki Mito's mansion, or Chiba's house, Uzumaki Kushina has no place to get news about Orochimaru, so Uzumaki Kushina doesn't know Orochimaru. You know that Kushina, Tsunade, and Jiraiya are one of the 3 ninjas, right? Yeah, I know. Sensei Orochimaru is also one of the 3 ninjas. Uzumaki Kushina covered her mouth in shock, and lowered her voice to confirm, did one of the 3 ninjas accept you, Chiyu, as his disciple? Chiyu smiled and nodded, yes, that's right, I passed Sensei Orochimaru's test 4 nights ago, and now I am his disciple. According to what Sensei Orochimaru said that day, he will come to me today. Uzumaki Kushina said in surprise, it's great that Lord Orochimaru, one of the 3 ninjas, accepted you as his disciple, Chiyu. Chiyu said with some guilt, but Kushina, I will practice with Sensei Orochimaru in the future, and the time we spend together may be very short, and we won't be able to meet every day anymore. Uzumaki Kushina smiled and patted Chiyu's shoulder, oh, it's okay, Chiyu, when you have achieved success in your studies, we will have plenty of time. In fact, Kushina Uzumaki was still very disappointed. Ever since she met Chiyu and became friends, she had met Chiyu every day for the past few years, without missing a single day. She had gotten used to having Chiyu around her. Now they were going to separate after graduation, and Kushina Uzumaki was very reluctant, but in order not to worry Chiyu, Kushina Uzumaki tried hard to act like nothing was wrong. Chiyu and Kushina Uzumaki had been together for so many years, and she knew Kushina Uzumaki well. Chiyu naturally understood what Kushina Uzumaki was really thinking. But now was not the right time, the crisis was imminent, and now Chiyu had to do everything she could to stop her. Become stronger, so that he and Uzumaki Kushina can survive the future crisis. Chiyu took out a bell from his pocket. This is one of a pair of bells that Chiyu exchanged at the exchange store with a huge sum of 30 witness points. This pair of bells has no special function, only one function. When one bell rings, the other bell will also ring, and the 2 bells can guide each other to find each other. The purpose of Chiyu exchanging this bell is to prepare for the kidnapping of Uzumaki Kushina by the ninja of the Hidden Cloud Village in the future. Chiyu handed the bell in his hand to Uzumaki Kushina. This is for you, Kushina. Looking at the small bell in Chiyu's hand, Uzumaki Kushina took it very happily, and asked expectantly, is this a gift for me? Looking at Uzumaki Kushina's expectant expression, Chiyu smiled and said, yes. Uzumaki Kushina smiled very brightly, I like it very much, thank you Chiyu. Chinyu touched her nose. Could a bell make Uzumaki Kushina so happy? Chinyu looked at Uzumaki Kushina seriously and warned, Kushina, this bell has some special functions. I also have an identical bell here. As long as you ring your bell, my bell will also ring, and no matter where you are, the bell will guide me to find you, so you must carry this bell with you at ordinary times. If you encounter anything, you must ring the bell, and I will rush over as soon as possible. Do you understand? Seeing that Chinyu was so serious, Uzumaki Kushina also responded seriously with her little face, I will definitely carry this bell with me all the time. After that, Uzumaki Kushina couldn't help shaking the bell, and then listened carefully to the movement of Chinyu. When she heard the sound of the bell coming from Chinyu's body, Uzumaki Kushina smiled very sweetly. Chapter 25. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Inside the ninja school, today is the day of the graduation examination. The content of the examination is the 3-body technique. This kind of examination is a piece of cake for Chiyu. The graduation examination of the ninja school is actually quite simple, even for Minato Namikaze who graduated early. It is not a matter of being a chunin or being able to survive a certain amount of time under the hands of a chunin to pass this kind of examination. Candidates like Minato Namikaze who graduated early, in addition to the three-body technique, also have to take the examination of basics such as physical skills and shuriken throwing. In short, if you show all the knowledge you have learned in the ninja school and prove that you have become a qualified ninja, you can graduate early. The examination is coming soon. Chiyu came to the classroom where the examination was conducted. The teacher conducting the examination was Hayabusa Masada. Chiyu knew that Hayabusa Masada looked down on him very much, so he was too lazy to say anything to him. After waiting for Hayabusa Masada to announce the start of the examination, Chiyu directly performed the clone technique. Substitute technique and transformation technique. Hayabusa Masada could not find any fault with Chiyu's three-body technique. After stamping the examination certificate with the seal of examination passed, he handed the forehead protector to Chiyu. Chiyu silently took the forehead protector and left the classroom without even a glance at Masada Hayabusa. Masada Hayabusa was so angry that he blew his beard and glared. After the exams, other candidates would express their gratitude to him for his hard work in teaching over the years. However, Chiyu was so cold. Masada Hayabusa muttered unhappily, "He is really a traitor, with a cold nature. I really don't want such a guy to become a ninja." Chiyu waited at the gate of the ninja school for a while, and not long after, Uzumaki Kushina also came out. Uzumaki Kushina couldn't wait to put on the forehead protector. "Senju, does it look good?" Uzumaki Kushina, wearing a forehead protector, turned around in front of Senju. "It looks very good." Looking at the forehead protector on Uzumaki Kushina's forehead, Senju felt mixed emotions. After officially becoming a ninja, the beginning is about to begin. Soon the ninja world will become a meat grinder, the weak will die, and the strong will survive. It's time to go. At some point, Orochimaru appeared behind Chiyu. Chiyu turned around and bowed, saying, "Teacher Orochimaru." When Uzumaki Kushina saw Orochimaru, she felt a chill on her back. Because of Orochimaru's pale skin and snake-like vertical pupils, in Uzumaki Kushina's eyes, Orochimaru was like a poisonous snake that would choose its prey. Tsunade and Jiraiya, two of the other three ninjas, looked quite normal, so why did this Orochimaru look so scary? Uzumaki Kushina shrank back behind Chiyu in fear, but because Orochimaru was Chiyu's teacher, Uzumaki Kushina still plucked up the courage to greet him, "Sir Orochimaru." Orochimaru just glanced at Uzumaki Kushina and didn't say anything. Chiyu turned to Uzumaki Kushina and said, "Kushina, Orochimaru teacher is here to see me. You go back first. Remember, ring the bell if you have anything." Uzumaki Kushina nodded and said, "I understand, Chiyu." Chiyu rubbed Uzumaki Kushina's head and said, "Then go back quickly and tell your grandmother Mito the good news that you have become a ninja." Uzumaki Kushina knew that after this separation, she might not be able to see Chiyu again for a while, so she left reluctantly, looking back every few steps. Chiyu was also reluctant, but he didn't want to let Uzumaki Kushina be exposed to Orochimaru's eyes for too long. No one knows what his teacher is thinking now. Being targeted is not a good thing. Chiyu turned to Orochimaru again and said, "I'm sorry, teacher Orochimaru, I kept you waiting for a long time. Let's go then." Chiyu followed Orochimaru and left the ninja school. After walking for an unknown amount of time, Chiyu followed Orochimaru to an underground base on the edge of Konoha. Chiyu looked at the dim surroundings with a somewhat strange look in his eyes. Did Orochimaru already have the habit of building underground bases during this period? Orochimaru took Chiyu to an office that looked like a workplace, with all the open ninjutsu scrolls on the table. Orochimaru sat on a chair, looked at Chiyu and asked, "Do you know the attributes of your chakra?" Chiyu answered truthfully, "I only know that I have a thunder attribute." Orochimaru took out a piece of paper. This is a chakra test paper, which can detect the attributes of the chakra possessed by a ninja. Just inject your chakra into the chakra test paper. Chiyu took the chakra test paper and injected the chakra into it. The chakra test paper began to change. One area became wrinkled, one area caught fire, one area became wet, and the last area shattered. Orochimaru looked at the changes in the chakra test paper and said in surprise, "Oh. Do you have the 4 chakra attributes of lightning, fire, water, and earth? You only need 1 wind attribute to have all 5 attributes. Orochimaru closed his eyes and thought about how to teach Chiyu. Chiyu did not disturb Orochimaru, but stood quietly beside Orochimaru and waited. Half an hour later, Orochimaru opened his eyes and said to Chiyu, I am not very proficient in the 3 escape techniques of lightning, fire, and water, but it should be enough to guide you. As for physical skills, you have practiced the full sword type of thunder breathing, as long as you continue to improve. I don't have any better physical skills than the full sword type of thunder breathing. You have mastered the changes in the form and nature of lightning attribute chakra, so temporarily focus on lightning escape, continue to improve, and then gradually master the escape techniques of fire, water, and earth. I found that you are not very skilled in using the Sharingan. And the use of the Sharingan should also be carried out and included in the training plan. As one of the 3 major pupil techniques in the ninja world, even the Sharingan with a single Magatama is of great use to ninjas. The insight eye of the single Magatama Sharingan, combined with the full sword form of thunder breathing, should have a significant improvement. Then my secret technique needs to be used in conjunction with the summoning technique, so you must also master the summoning technique. This is the plan for your training during this period. Do you have any objections? Chiyu replied, Teacher Orochimaru, I have no objection. Orochimaru got up from the chair and said, Since there is no objection, let's start from tomorrow. I will take you to your room. Orochimaru took Chiyu out of the office and came to a room. This room can be said to be in full view. Except for a bed and a bedside table, there is nothing else. Orochimaru instructed Chiyu, you can go almost everywhere in this base, but don't go into the sealed room. Yes, Mr. Orochimaru. After Orochimaru left the room, Chiyu lay on the bed where he might sleep for a long time. Orochimaru is worthy of being Orochimaru. When Chiyu heard the plan given to him by Orochimaru, he felt that his next days would definitely be very fulfilling. Chapter 26. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chiyu lived in Orochimaru's underground base, and Orochimaru has made a package of training plans for Chiyu, but Chiyu didn't know that the following days would be a nightmare for Chiyu. The next morning, before dawn, Chiyu was awakened by a snake. When the snake climbed onto Chiyu's bed, Chiyu woke up with a start. Moreover, this snake could speak human language. It must be a summoned beast summoned by Orochimaru. Master Chiba, Master Orochimaru is waiting for you. This is the first time someone, no, it was a snake calling him sir, which felt weird. When Chiyu came to Orochimaru's office, Orochimaru was already reading a scroll of ninjutsu. Now that you're up, let's get started. Follow me. Orochimaru brought Chiyu to the training ground of the underground base. In the center of the training ground, Orochimaru directly summoned a large number of snakes. Orochimaru said to Chiyu, you'll start with physical training in the morning. You can't use lightning chakra to activate your body. Just use the purest physical strength. Hit as many snakes as possible within 1 minute. You can only stop when I say stop. Are you ready? Chiyu, who had just woken up, was a little confused. This was too sudden. She hadn't even had breakfast. Chiyu took a deep breath and nodded, I'm ready, Teacher Orochimaru. Let's get started, the countdown begins. Chiyu rushed out instantly, hitting the snake's body with his hands. The snakes hit by Chiyu turned into smoke and disappeared, and Orochimaru came to the edge of the training ground, sat on a chair that had been prepared long ago, and continued to read the unfinished ninjutsu scroll. 1 minute passed quickly, and Chiyu felt very relaxed. After all, it was only 1 minute. Just when Chiyu wanted to report to Orochimaru that 1 minute had passed, Orochimaru said without even looking up. Continue. Chiyu continued to hit the snake. 1 minute after another minute passed. Chiyu didn't know how many minutes he had spent, and Orochimaru was always those 2 words. Continue. That I don't know how many waves of snakes have been replaced on the training ground. After so many times, Shinyu didn't even ask and took the initiative to start a new minute. At the beginning, Shinyu was still very relaxed, but the longer the time, the more tired her body became. Shinyu got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to start training, and now it is almost 10 o'clock, this 1 minute training is still going on. Shinyu's speed is getting slower and slower, and his steps are getting heavier. He has been bitten by snakes several times. Fortunately, these snakes are not poisonous. If they were poisonous, Chienyu would have died countless times. However, when he was bitten by a snake for the first time, Orochimaru allowed Chienyu to activate the Sharingan for training. After activating the Sharingan, the increased dynamic vision made Chiyu's training easier. However, the Sharingan could not increase Chiyu's physical strength, and these snakes were still as fast as before. So the training became difficult again after a short while, and since Chiyu stopped asking questions, Orochimaru has been looking at the ninjutsu scroll over there, as if he had forgotten about him, which made Chiyu really depressed. Chiyu was distracted and was instantly bitten on the arm by a snake. When Chiyu shook off the snake and was about to continue for the next minute, Orochimaru's voice came, "Let's stop here for the physical training." Chienyu had never felt that Orochimaru's hoarse voice was so pleasant, and she immediately collapsed on the ground and took a deep breath. This training seems simple, and it is indeed simple, but it is a test of accuracy, concentration, endurance and speed, especially the eyes. Chienyu's eyes were sore and bitter from staring at the snake's movements with full concentration, and it seemed that everything she saw was double. Orochimaru closed the scroll in his hand, stood up and walked in front of Chienyu. Orochimaru began to explain his problem to Chienyu. "You have a big problem. Your speed and endurance are completely stimulated by the lightning chakra to activate the body. Without the blessing of the lightning chakra, you can hit about 120 snakes per minute on average at the beginning, about 2 snakes per second. This speed is already quite good compared with your peers, but for you who pursue speed, then this efficiency is completely unqualified, and your endurance, after an hour, the speed at which you hit the snake has begun to drop sharply. That is to say, in battle, after an hour, your combat effectiveness will be greatly reduced. Your concentration was barely acceptable, as you were not bitten by the snake until about 2 hours later, but your use of the Sharingan was too poor. The opening of the Sharingan has enhanced your dynamic vision, so you don't have to focus only on the few snakes in front of you like you did before the Sharingan was opened. You should make full use of your dynamic vision to judge the movements of more snakes around you and react in advance. You rely too much on the blessing brought to you by the lightning attribute chakra. What you need to do now is to work hard to improve your physical fitness. After your physical fitness improves, you can use the lightning attribute chakra to activate your body, and your speed and endurance will also be greatly improved. Therefore, in addition to the current training, strength training will be added to the physical training tomorrow morning. Chienyu heard Orochimaru explain his problem, and Chienyu accepted it all with an open mind. At the same time, Chienyu was still a little disappointed. Chienyu believes that he has been working hard and should be quite good, but in Orochimaru's mouth, he seems to be quite bad. There is more to learn. We need to work harder. Chiyu thanked him. "Thank you, Mr. Orochimaru. I will work hard." Orochimaru nodded and said, "Come with me to eat first. We will start ninjutsu training in the afternoon." Chiyu followed Orochimaru and left the training ground. Chiyu never expected that Orochimaru would cook lunch himself, and he made omelette rice. Looking at the omelette rice covered with sauce in front of him, it seemed to be delicious. After taking a bite, it was really delicious. Chiyu felt a little surprised, and Orochimaru is really a ninjutsu madman now. Even when he was eating, he was holding a ninjutsu scroll and watching it. The ninjutsu training in the afternoon also began. Ninjutsu training is not easier than physical training, and it is even more difficult, because Chiyu does not know any other ninjutsu except thunder breathing. Orochimaru first taught Chiyu the 4 sea-level ninjutsu of thunder, fire, water, and earth, and let Chiyu practice first. Chiyu constantly consumes the chakra in his body to practice ninjutsu. When the chakra is used up, he will refine the chakra on the spot, and then continue to practice. The time of refining chakra is Chinyu's short rest time. It is not until about 6 o'clock in the evening that Chinyu's day of practice stops. After eating a few bites of dinner, Chinyu lay dead on the bed. The main reason is that he can't squeeze out any more. In the morning, he drained his physical strength, and in the afternoon, he drained his chakra. The first day of training was so torturous. Thinking about the days to come, Chinyu couldn't help but shudder. Chapter 27. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chiyu is undergoing rigorous training in Orochimaru's base. Orochimaru's training is not like other teachers, who give you heavy training tasks right from the start to prepare you mentally. Instead, it looks easy, and you think you can complete it easily, but when you go on with the training, you find that it is not the case at all. It is a double torture of the body and the mind, and it feels like the kind of despair that there is no hope for your future. However, Orochimaru's teaching level is indeed top-notch. Orochimaru teaches students in accordance with their aptitude. If Chiyu has any problems, he will point them out immediately, and strengthen the training for the weak points. It would be better if Orochimaru summoned fewer snakes. Chiyu has been training in the underground base for nearly a month. Ordinary snakes can no longer threaten Chiyu. Now Chiyu is not only tied with weights, but the snakes that cooperate with Chiyu in training are all snakes from the Ryuchi cave, and they are all snakes with real chakra, which are much stronger than ordinary snakes. Chiyu has been embarrassed by these snakes many times, and now Chiyu has learned the shadow clone technique, not the A-level ninjutsu multiple shadow clone technique listed as a forbidden technique, but just an ordinary shadow clone technique. Chiyu can only create one shadow clone. Chiyu wants to try to practice with the shadow clone like Naruto. Good guy. Chiyu almost fainted that time. The memory and experience of the clone will return to the main body, and the same fatigue will be transmitted back to the main body. Double fatigue, that feeling, as if to go to heaven, but it is still not as sour as the time when the system used his body to simulate the thunder breathing. Even now, Chiyu can't help but shudder when he thinks about it. Therefore, Chiyu now lets his shadow clone learn ninjutsu knowledge, and then transmits the memory back to the main body to save time. Every day, Chiyu's physical strength and chakra are exhausted, but every day Orochimaru will give Chiyu a cup of special liquid. I heard from Orochimaru that this is the nutrient solution he developed, which can not only replenish the nutrients needed by the body, but also eliminate fatigue. Chiyu drank the nutrient solution every night, and after sleeping until dawn, all the fatigue in his body disappeared. It can be said that Chiyu can do such high-intensity training every day thanks to this nutrient solution. Today, Orochimaru was rarely away from the underground base. In the morning, he left after saying train on your own, but even if Orochimaru left, Chiyu did not slack off in training. After all, training is for oneself, not for others. The morning training ended quickly. Chiyu took off the weights on her body, wiped the sweat with a towel, and prepared to eat something and rest for a while before starting the afternoon ninjutsu training. Orochimaru cooks every day, and Chiyu only needs to train. Today, Orochimaru is not here, so Chiyu can only cook by herself. Just when Chiyu was preparing to make udon noodles for lunch today, Orochimaru came back. Orochimaru changed into a ninja costume and said to Chiyu, "I've got a C-rank mission for you, let's go straight away." Chiyu put down the vegetables that she was going to use as a side dish and said in surprise, "Hey, so sudden." Orochimaru crossed his arms, leaned against the door frame, looked at Chiyu and said, "It's almost done. This C-rank mission is to wipe out a group of bandits. It's time to test the results of your training for this month." Chiyu shook off the water stains on his hands. "Okay, I'll take my sword." At this time, Orochimaru threw something to Chiyu. After Chiyu caught it, he saw that it was a ninja tool bag. 5 kunai, some shurikens and several detonating talismans were neatly placed in the ninja tool bag. "Thank you, Master Orochimaru." Qianyu wore the ninja tool bag. As a poor man, Qianyu couldn't afford such ninja tools, especially the detonating tags, which were extremely expensive, and the price was several times that of the kunai. Now Qianyu completely eats, drinks and lives with Orochimaru. Now Orochimaru is still buying ninja tools for Qianyu, which makes her feel embarrassed. Qianyu took the katana and left Konoha with Orochimaru, after many years. Leaving Konoha again made Qianyu feel a little dazed, thinking of his parents. Qianyu felt a little depressed. They are really a good pair of parents and love him very much. If it weren't for those 4 happy years, let alone whether Qianyu could survive, Qianyu felt that in this cannibalistic ninja world, he would most likely become a walking corpse without any hope or goal. Because he has experienced happiness, Qianyu is now fighting for himself, for Uzumaki Kushina, and for the future. "What, did you think of something?" Orochimaru is very sensitive to people's emotional changes and noticed Chiyu's low mood. Chiyu took a deep breath and said with a smile, "Nothing, I just thought that this is my first time out of the village since I returned to Konoha, so I was a little excited." Orochimaru glanced at Chiyu and chuckled, "Really?" Orochimaru could tell that Chiba was not excited, but was obviously remembering something. As for what he was remembering, Chiba's only friend in Konoha was Uzumaki Kushina, who was still alive, so he would not remember Uzumaki Kushina, so Chiba must be remembering his parents. The destination of this mission is in the Land of Rice. The Land of Rice is a small country bordering Konoha. And there is no ninja village, due to the inaction of the daimyo of the Land of Rice. Bandits are rampant in the Land of Rice. This time, Orochimaru helped Chiyu accept a sea-level mission, which is to wipe out the bandits who have burned, killed and looted several villages in the Land of Rice. Chiyu and Orochimaru stood on the top of the mountain, overlooking the noisy village at the foot of the mountain. Now the village is full of bandits, and the villagers have been slaughtered. It looks like they should be holding a banquet to celebrate, Orochimaru said. For this mission, you have to kill all the bandits in this village. At the same time, you cannot use thunder breathing, but you can use your swordsmanship, ninjutsu, taijutsu, and sharingan. Do you understand? Chiyu nodded and said, I understand. Then let's get started. Chenyu used the instant body flickering technique and disappeared instantly. Chenyu came to the village alone. Chenyu first explored the village and confirmed the number of people. This village had experienced a massacre by bandits. The houses were full of corpses. No one, young or old, male or female, was left. Only bandits were left in the village. All the bandits gathered in the field in the center of the village for a banquet. It was much more convenient for Chenyu to gather all the bandits together. After Chenyu made some arrangements, he approached the gathering place of the bandits secretly. The bandits held wine in their hands, and the looted property was placed in the middle of the field. The blood on their bodies turned black and brown. They laughed wantonly, and talked about how many people they killed and how they killed them. Chenyu took out a kunai from the ninja bag and looked at the bandits celebrating in front of him with murderous intent. Chapter 28. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the village where the bandits had slaughtered all the people, Chenyu opened her sharingan and confirmed the number of bandits, a total of 34 people. Chenyu locked her eyes on the 4 bandits who were moving the wine. It was such a refreshing feeling. The sight of the 2 people I killed kneeling on the ground begging me to spare their lives was so pleasing. Who says it isn't? But this village is a bit poor. This is all the money we have left after looting. By the time it's our turn, there might not be much left. It's already pretty good. You forgot that the previous village was even poorer. When it came to us, there was no money to share. Don't worry. Didn't the boss say that there is no more money to be made in Tian country? He said he would take us to the neighboring Moon country to make a fortune. Chenyu appeared silently behind one of the bandits like a ghost, and the cold light of the kunai flashed and wiped the other person's neck. The other 2 smelled a familiar smell of blood and looked at the bandit whose throat was cut, and this look was their last. The necks of the 2 bandits were cut by Chenyu. The last bandit did not notice that their companion's neck was cut by Chenyu, and he was still talking about the future looting plan. I heard that although the Moon country is a small country like the Field country, it is very rich. Robbing a village in the Moon country may earn more money than we robbed the villages in the Field country combined. We will definitely make a lot of money by then. I am very excited just thinking about it. Don't you think so? Life is getting more and more promising. I said that the profession of bandit is very promising. Do you believe it now? Hey, why don't you speak? The bandit who was still talking non-stop found that the other 3 people were silent. With the help of the firelight, he looked at them and his hair stood up. The 3 bandits covered their necks and spit out blood from their mouths. They wanted to say something, but because their trachea was cut, they spit out blood instead. Suddenly, the bandit felt a pain in the skin on his neck, subconsciously touched it, and the warm liquid covered his entire hand. Then the feeling of suffocation came, his whole face flushed, and finally he fell to the ground with his companions. Chenyu shook the blood on the kunai and glanced at the corpse on the ground with indifference. It feels exciting. 30. Chenyu muttered a number and then disappeared into the dark to continue the assassination. Chenyu's plan was to first eliminate the lone bandits and then catch the remaining bandits. 29, 26, 23. Chenyu harvested the lives of the bandits were still immersed in the joy of the banquet. Where's Shinichi? Didn't he say he was going to pee? Why hasn't he come back yet? Could he be drunk and fell asleep? This guy can't drink so much, it makes me laugh. Something is not right. Soda, Tsukasa, Ryusuke, and Waya, the four of them went to get the wine and they are nowhere to be seen. Foam Do is missing too. After Chinyu assassinated so many people, the bandits realized that something was wrong. The bandit leader immediately organized himself, gathered the remaining bandits together and counted them. There were 34 people in total, but now there were only 21 people left. 13 of them were gone. The bandit leader made a prompt decision and shouted, "Take up your weapons." The bandit leader led the bandits to look for Chinyu. When the bandits saw the bodies of their companions on the ground, they felt a chill down their spines. So many people died, but there was no movement at all. This kind of unknown was the most terrifying. Earth Escape, Turbo Spear. Chinyu appeared behind the bandits, and pressed his hands on the ground after making seals. Chinyu created sharp rocks on the ground below the bandits, and several bandits were directly pierced through the body by the sharp rocks. The bandits who reacted quickly immediately retreated to avoid the attack. The bandit leader looked at Chinyu in horror, who was in the shadow and whose figure could not be seen clearly. It turned out to be a ninja. In the ninja world, even genin has an extremely high status, and this status is brought by strength. Before the emergence of chakra, the highest status was the samurai. Now there is only one country left for samurai, the Iron Country, and even samurai have practiced chakra, and no longer purely practice swordsmanship. These bandits are just ordinary people. Facing ninjas, even genin can hardly defeat them, so after discovering that it was a ninja, the bandits were all scared. The bandit leader knew very well that if he retreated now, he would most likely be chased and defeated, and he had to fight to have a chance, and the bandit leader felt that the opponent's strength would definitely not be very strong. Otherwise, there would be no need to use assassination methods. Don't panic. We have more people. The other side has only one person. Don't panic. Listen to my instructions. Let's charge together. The bandit leader calmed everyone down and shouted, "Let's charge together. Charge." After hearing the boss's order, all the bandits rushed towards Chinyu. Chinyu quickly formed seals with both hands. Fire style, great fireball technique. Chinyu gathered his chiklala in his throat and blew out a huge fireball from his mouth. The bandits who were at the front were blown into the air by the fireball, and the flames covered their entire bodies. Don't be afraid, keep charging. As long as you get close to him, you can kill him. If you retreat now, it will be completely over. The bandit leader stood at the back and shouted at the top of his voice. Chinyu's hands formed seals again. Water style, water wave. He spit out a stream of water from his mouth to attack the bandits. However, this stream of water could only push the bandits back, but could not cause effective damage to them. But now a small pool of water appeared on the ground, and most of the bandits were covered in water. After Chinyu made a seal, he touched his hand on the pool of water. Lightning release, thunder. Chinyu's hands burst into dazzling lightning, illuminating the dark surroundings. The lightning was conducted in the water, and the bandits were electrified with black smoke. Chinyu drew the sword from his waist and rushed forward, beheading the bandits who were paralyzed and unable to move one by one. The bandits who were not wet looked at Chinyu with horror. They didn't even touch anyone, but most of them were already dead or injured. How could they fight? The bandits turned around and ran away in panic. In the process of running away, they found that their boss had disappeared long ago. After Chinyu beheaded all the bandits who were paralyzed by the lightning escape, he whispered a 9, slightly bent his body, exerted force with his legs, and rushed out like a cannonball. After 3 years of training in the ninja school, plus the targeted training of Orochimaru in the past month, now Chinyu can reach the speed when Chinyu just learned the breathing of thunder even if he does not use the lightning escape chakra to activate his body. Chinyu is like the god of death, ready to harvest the last remaining bandits. Chapter 29. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There were 34 bandits, and only 9 of them were still alive before they even touched the corner of Chiyu's clothes. This is a ninja. Ordinary people, even strong adults, cannot pose a threat to underage ninjas. Like Kakashi, he graduated from the ninja school at the age of 5 and started chopping people, and the people he chopped were ninjas. The speed at which those 9 people escaped was as slow as a turtle in Chiyu's Sharingan. Chiyu easily caught up with a bandit, and the sword in his hand slashed at the back of the bandit's neck without stopping. The bandit felt that he was still running, but his vision was infinitely lowered, and finally fell to the ground. Looking at the headless body falling beside him, the bandit suddenly realized, oh, that's his own body. He was beheaded. The beheaded bandit finally saw Chinyu's face clearly. Was it just a child? A child almost killed them all. Judging from this situation, the others should not be spared. Next life, in my next life, I must become a ninja, and then go robbing. With the hope for the next life, the bandit's consciousness completely dissipated. Chinyu continued to kill people while counting down. Hearing Chinyu's somewhat childish countdown, the few bandits who survived were terrified. This countdown number is completely their death warrant. A scream represents the death of a companion, and the despair in their hearts can no longer be contained. When Chinyu counted down to 3, the two bandits in front stopped running. I can't escape even if I want. 2. I won't run anymore. I'm tired. I'll be destroyed. If I die, I'll die. I won't be afraid like this anymore. The two bandits put down their weapons and waited for death to come. Chinyu was merciless to the two bandits who put down their weapons and beheaded them directly. Chinyu counted down to 1. The only bandit left was the last bandit leader. The bandit leader saw Chinyu killing his men one by one like cutting melons and vegetables, and he had already run away in fear. The bandit leader is about to leave the village, still cursing. Bastard, he actually hired a ninja to deal with us. If I know who he is, I will torture him and then kill him. Damn, all the money I robbed today is still there. I have to give up. Fortunately, there is still some money left from the previous robbery. Now we can't stay in Tian country anymore, so we should go to Moon country as planned, recruit soldiers and directly rob Moon country's villages. The bandit leader suddenly stopped because he felt his ankle hit something. Looking down, it was a steel wire. The bandit leader breathed a sigh of relief. When his ankle hit something, he felt a palpitation in his heart. Just when the bandit leader didn't take it seriously and was about to move forward, he heard a sizzling sound. The bandit leader looked down again and saw a piece of paper with the word explosion written on it, which was already half burned. Oh, it's a piece of paper. Paper. Detonating talisman. The bandit leader's hair stood up instantly. When he wanted to run away, the detonating talisman had already exploded. With a bang, the detonator exploded, and the shock wave of the explosion knocked the bandit leader heavily against the wall. The bandit leader, who was dazed by the explosion, struggled to get up, but fell to the ground again. The bandit leader looked at his legs, and his eyes shrank into a point in fear. His right leg was blown off in the explosion just now, and the wound was still bleeding. Ah, my leg! The bandit leader covered the wound of his broken leg and cried out miserably. Chinyu walked up to the front of the bandit leader, staring at him with his scarlet Sharingan. The bandit leader stared at Chinyu's Sharingan blankly, and even forgot to scream. Looking at Chinyu's Sharingan, the bandit leader felt like falling into an ice cellar, which made people shudder. Chinyu raised the katana in his hand, pointed the tip of the knife at the throat of the bandit leader, and whispered, 0. Chinyu's katana pierced the throat of the bandit leader, and blood splattered immediately. The bandit leader's eyes gradually became unfocused, and he went to hell with his grand ambitions. Chinyu swung the katana vigorously to shake off the blood on it, then clamped the katana on his arm and wiped it, wiping the remaining blood on the blade and putting it back into the sheath. Call. Chinyu exhaled a breath. It was very easy for him to wipe out 34 bandits now. These bandits had no power to fight back. If he could use the thunder breathing, it would be even easier. Chinyu was sure that he could kill all 34 bandits in a very short time, leaving no one alive. However, this was a task that Orochimaru took on specifically to test Chinyu's training results for the past month. If he used the thunder breathing, it would lose its meaning. However, the feeling of using ninjutsu in training is really different from that of using ninjutsu in actual combat. It seems to be more convenient. Just when Chinyu turned around and was about to leave to find Orochimaru, Orochimaru had already appeared behind him. Orochimaru looked at the corpse of the bandit leader, raised a curve at the corner of his mouth, and praised, "Well done, you can effectively conceal your breath during the assassination, and you also used those ninjutsu quite skillfully, and you also had a good idea, making full use of the characteristics of water escape and thunder escape, and matching them together. The action was also quite rigorous, and the detonating talisman trap was arranged in Advance to prevent any fish from escaping. Hearing Orochimaru's praise, Shinju couldn't help but laugh. This month, it was the first time that Orochimaru praised him so much. Every time during training, Orochimaru would ask Chiyu a lot of questions. Chiyu almost thought that his talent was very poor several times. Now that Orochimaru finally praised him once, Chiyu was in a very good mood. Orochimaru continued, especially, you have a very good habit. Chiyu was stunned. He has a habit? What habit? Chiyu pricked up his ears and listened carefully. Orochimaru said, that is, when you kill the enemy, you always target the opponent's head, either beheading or cutting the throat. There are only a few vital parts of the human body. Even if the heart is pierced, the opponent has a certain amount of time to act. During this time, it is very likely that the opponent will counterattack. Whether it is beheading or cutting the throat, it is an effective means to make the opponent lose the battle immediately. This habit is quite good. Hearing Orochimaru's evaluation, Chiyu touched his nose a little embarrassedly. Thinking about it this way, it is true that cutting the throat and beheading has become his habit. The reason is thunder breathing, because thunder breathing is a technique to kill ghosts, and the ghost's weakness is the neck, so all sword types are aimed at the neck. Hearing Orochimaru's praise, Shinju felt that this habit was really good. Chapter 30. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Orochimaru praised Chiyu, he now began to point out Chiyu's problems. First of all, your hand seal speed needs more practice. In a duel between ninjas of the same strength, it depends on who has the fastest hand seal casting speed. If the hand seal casting speed is slow, it means losing the initiative and the next battle will be passive, so the next training needs to add another hand seal training. This is the main problem. The others are some minor problems exposed in your usual training. After returning, continue to train on those problems. The others are generally pretty good. Because you have a lot of problems before, the practice of summoning has been put on hold. So after these minor problems are solved, you will sign the contract of Longqi Cave and start to gradually master the summoning technique and my secret technique. Shinju is very interested in Orochimaru's secret technique. When he heard that he could finally learn it, he said excitedly, yes, teacher Orochimaru. Orochimaru patted Shinju on the shoulder, and suddenly changed the subject and whispered, Shinju, I know what you think in your heart. Konoha is a prison for you. You are trying so hard to become stronger in order to break free from this prison. Sooner or later, you will leave Konoha. Orochimaru teacher. Chiyu frowned and was about to argue, but Orochimaru ignored Chiyu and continued, I said before that we are the same kind of people. I want to learn all the ninjutsu in the world, but this limited body will sooner or later become a burden to me, just like Konoha is your prison, and this body is also my prison. I want to break free from this prison at all costs, so as your kind, I naturally know what you think. At this time, a gust of wind blew, blowing up the hair of Orochimaru and Chiyu. Orochimaru looked up at the bright moon in the sky, his voice hoarse but full of a unique charm. I am looking forward to you now. I want to see where this wind will blow to you as my disciple. Chiyu looked at Orochimaru in a daze, not knowing what Orochimaru meant. No matter what Orochimaru meant, it would be better to express his attitude now. Teacher Orochimaru, I will always be a ninja of Konoha. Orochimaru lowered his head and smiled at Chiyu, but his eyes revealed an inexplicable emotion. At this time, Orochimaru was also in a period of confusion. During the Second Ninja World War, he witnessed the death of his friend Kato Dan and his disciple Naroki, especially Naroki. Although his personality is completely opposite to his, he is a bit like Jiraiya. But Naroki is still Orochimaru's favorite disciple. During the Second Ninja World War, Naroki rushed to the front line with his passion, but was killed by the detonating trap set by the enemy in advance. When he and Tsunade rushed over, Naroki was already dead, and his internal organs were hollowed out. Even Tsunade, who was powerful in medical ninjutsu, was powerless to save him. Faced with the tragic death of his beloved disciple, Orochimaru thought about the meaning of life. At the same time, he witnessed the scene of people not respecting life during the war. Orochimaru believed that life was fragile. However, Orochimaru believed that the human body contained power that could not be used in a lifetime. Only by learning all ninjutsu can one master the truth of the world. but there are so many ninjutsu in the ninja world that even if one spends a lifetime, one cannot master all ninjutsu, so Orochimaru felt that this body was a burden. Orochimaru secretly killed the guards and sneaked into the forbidden technique base of Konoha, seizing a large number of ninjutsu scrolls. At the same time, what was very important to Orochimaru was the impure world reincarnation technique, which could summon the souls of the dead from the underworld to the present world and revive them. Orochimaru has been learning the impure world reincarnation technique. Although he has not yet learned it, it provides Orochimaru with an inspiration. That is the soul. The human body is a container, and the essence is the soul. If you can transfer the soul to someone else's body, can you gain eternal life? Now Orochimaru is only in the theoretical stage and has not officially started the experiment, but if you want to conduct experiments, you will inevitably touch the taboo of human experiments. However, human experiments are absolutely not allowed in Konoha, or even in the ninja world, because it is against human ethics. Not to mention that he is the disciple of the third generation of Konoha Hokage. Orochimaru feels that it is not only his own body that binds him, but also these secular ethics. If he is not a disciple of the Hokage, not a ninja of Konoha, then he can experiment to his heart's content. Orochimaru is very confused now. He cannot abandon these secular ethics and conduct human experiments recklessly, and Chiyu. At the beginning, Orochimaru just responded to Sarutobi Hiruzen's request to see if Chiyu is qualified to be his disciple. Chiyu is very talented and is undoubtedly a genius. What really made Orochimaru decide to accept Chiyu as his disciple was the look in Chiyu's eyes that he accidentally revealed. The kind of look that will do anything to achieve the goal. At the time of the Second Ninja World War, Orochimaru also had such a look. Orochimaru recalled that during the Second Ninja War, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and he were surrounded by the ninjas of the Rock Village, and the three were surrounded in a cave. Jiraiya was seriously injured, and Jiraiya himself thought he could not survive. Orochimaru's approach at the time was that he thought Jiraiya's injuries were too serious. If this continued, Jiraiya would only be a burden, and would cause him and Tsunade to sacrifice, so he planned to kill Jiraiya himself. Tsunade said that he was too unscrupulous and actually wanted to kill his companions with his own hands. Orochimaru thought that what Tsunade said was right. He was a person who would do anything to achieve his goals. Orochimaru felt that if it were his former self, he would not hesitate to conduct human experiments. When Orochimaru saw Chiyu now, he seemed to see his former self, and Chiyu was very much to Orochimaru's liking, so Orochimaru wanted to see if Chiyu, who was similar to himself, would blow up or stop halfway. Chiyu was very uneasy when facing the look in Orochimaru's eyes, and had no idea what Orochimaru was thinking. Orochimaru turned his back to Chiyu and said, "Don't worry, just go ahead with your own plan. I will not hinder you, and I will help you, because you are my disciple. I will do my best to train you and make you the wind that can blow in the air." Chiyu looked at Orochimaru's back with strange eyes. He always felt that there was something wrong with Orochimaru now, and Chiyu seemed to feel that Orochimaru's attitude towards him seemed a little different. "Because you are my disciple." It sounds like Orochimaru has recognized him as a disciple, but would the self-centered Orochimaru really recognize him as a disciple? Don't be like Orochimaru's subordinates who are all tools. Chiba is confused now, but he won't say anything. Orochimaru can see that he will leave Konoha sooner or later, but since he said, "Go ahead with your own plan," he shouldn't worry about other people knowing his true thoughts for the time being.